my entire halachic derech, my methodology and my way of thinking when it comes to the study of Torah, and particularly Halacha, is to a very large degree based on the Gra, on the Gaon of Vilna, and his instruction, his own methodology, the way that we see he learned and studied and decided issues based on all the works that we have of the Gra, the Gaon of Vilna, before us. And I was very significantly influenced by the Gra in my formative years, as I am to this day. One of the bases for the Psak Halacha regarding the permissibility of eating Kitniyot on Pesach for all Jews all over the world, and even more particularly for Jews living in Eretz Yisrael, is based on the idea that a minhag is a local phenomenon, and when people leave that locale, they are no longer required to follow those minhagim, those practices which, assuming that they were in fact obligatory in their original locale, are no longer obligatory when one moves away to a different location. This is not a new concept. It's mentioned in the Mishnah, in Masechet Pesachim, in the Talmud, in Pesachim, in Holin, and in many places. And specifically, we find this idea mentioned by the Gra himself, by the Gaon of Vilna. I have before me here a book, not very well known, I might add. I'll show you the book. It's called Tosefet Ma'aseh Rav. It was printed in Yerushalayim in the year Tau Resh Nun Waw. And at the very end of this book, the end of Ichot Purim, this book is a collection of statements and practices of the Gra. It says at the very end, Shamati mi'arav Yaakov Kahana. This is being written by one of the Gra students, that he heard from another student, a very famous student of the Gra called Rabbi Yaakov Kahana, Sheshama hadavarim kazo yotzeim mipi admur hasid. He himself heard the Gra say the following words: Lu yiten Hashem. I fervently wish that it be Hashem's will and desire, she'ezke lashevet be'eretz hakodesh, that I will be zocheh to move, to go to Eretz Yisrael and live in Eretz Yisrael. And we all know that the Gra did in fact leave Vilna on his way, began to journey towards Eretz Yisrael, but for reasons that are unknown to this day, turned back. Uchedai huli she'pater lechol hapachot miminhagei Polish. Right where I am pointing, and those words mean that this person, this Talmid of the Gra, heard the Gaon of Vilna say that if I am zocheh to go to Eretz Yisrael, one of the many advantages, of course, when moving to Eretz Yisrael, there are many advantages and many reasons to be happy and to feel that this is a very serious upgrade, so to speak, in one's Jewish existence. But one advantage will be, says the Gra about himself, that I will no longer be obligated to follow the minhagim. He says minhagei Polish. Apparently this means Polish practices, Polish minhagim. This is probably a reference to many Ashkenazi practices and minhagim. I've asked many people over the years what they understand this term minhagei Polish to mean, and no one has been able to elucidate it any better than I just have now. This is apparently a loose reference to many Ashkenazi practices, which the Gra was not necessarily enamored with, and perhaps he felt in Europe that he had no choice but to follow them, although we know for a fact that there were many practices, well known, even ancient Ashkenazi practices that the Gra did, in fact, already in Vilna, in his own day, quite clearly and deliberately dropped or acted differently from what was the normal custom. At any rate, here the Gra is saying, if I am zocheh to move to Eretz Yisrael, I will be able to free myself, as it were, from any obligation to follow these kinds of practices that we have here in this part of the world. And it's precisely based on this kind of thinking that the Psak of our Beit Din that we released publicly 8 years ago. This Psak was based, amongst other things, on this line of reasoning, that seeing that the Ashkenazi Jews of the world, by and large, are no longer in Europe, and those makomot, in those places where that was the minhag makom, and they moved to different localities and countries, this issue of Kitniyot and many other issues may now be re-evaluated, and a decision can be made, perhaps, to no longer follow these practices. And this is exactly what the Gra was suggesting. And therefore, far from contradicting the Gra or not following in his footsteps, I believe that our Psak Halacha is very much in line with the Gra's thinking.
Thank you, Rabbi Bar-Hayim. We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. We would also like to suggest the following opportunity to our viewers. If you identify with Rabbi Bar-Hayim's message and would like to sponsor or dedicate a video interview with the rabbi in honor or memory of a loved one, if you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org. If you are inspired by Rabbi Bar-Hayim's message and would like to get involved in Torah Eretz Yisrael activities in your local area, please fill out the relevant form by going to the link which appears on the screen.